I hate airports. Everyone pretending they're not exhausted or anxious or quietly losing their minds over a $25 salad. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Quick flight, home before midnight. Instead, delayed, then canceled. Of course. I found a corner by the windows, plugged in my phone, sat on my jacket like that made it a seat, and then I saw him.
I saw her before she saw me. Or maybe she saw me first. Hard to tell. She had this calm meets don't talk to me energy that I immediately respected. I wasn't going to say anything. She looked like someone who knew how to be alone. But then we bumped into each other. Twice. First at the sad little coffee kiosk. Then again, near the outlet I was hoping to steal. I gave her that half smile people give when they're just trying to not be awkward. She didn't smile back. Not right away. She just sat nearby, not close enough to assume anything, but not far enough to ignore it.
He caught me looking. I looked away, obviously. But when I ran into him again at the coffee kiosk and then 2 minutes later at the charging station, I figured the universe might be trying to start something. I sat near him, not next to him, just near, and waited to see if anything would happen.
And I thought, maybe the universe is doing that thing it sometimes does, putting two people in the same space over and over just to see what they'll do with it. So I took out one earbud, cleared my throat, and asked her if she'd mind watching my bag for a second. It wasn't a line. I really just needed to pee. But it was the beginning of something.
He came back from the bathroom. No chaos. No missing bag. I passed the trust test. We didn't say much for a few minutes, just sat in mutual silence. Then he said, "So, are you team sleep on the floor or team wander until dawn?" I said, "Team, reconsider every life decision that led to this airport." That made him laugh.
Her delivery was sharp, but it wasn't mean. It was dry in a really funny way. We started talking. Not about anything big, just what brought us here. Travel horror stories, favorite airports, TSA trauma bonding. She asked what I did. I said architecture. I told her I design homes for other people, but still figuring out what mine looks like.
I liked talking to him, not because he was charming, though he was, but because he didn't try too hard. He wasn't flirting, not obviously. He was just present. At some point, he asked if I wanted to take a walk around the terminal. I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. We walked the full loop, past 4 closed restaurants and one very sad massage chair. It felt weirdly romantic.
We ended up at this weird sculpture installation by Gate 18, sat under it like it was some kind of sacred art chapel for the jet-lagged and emotionally available. She told me about her last relationship. Not in a heavy way, just honest. I told her about how I got stuck reworking a community housing project I didn't even design. It tanked my week, but taught me more than I expected. She listened like she actually cared. I kept thinking, we shouldn't be clicking this fast.
It hit me how late it was. Or early, I don't know. Airport time is fake. But somehow, I wasn't tired, and I didn't want it to end. He offered me one of his earbuds, just held it out without saying anything. The song was mellow, warm. We sat in silence, no pressure, just music and the quiet hum of 1,000 vending machines.
I looked over at her. Hair pulled back, eyes half closed, still holding my earbud like it was some kind of tether. And I had this moment, this weird full-body realization that I was going to think about this night for a long time, even if nothing came of it, even if we never saw each other again. I just knew. This meant something.
Around 4 a.m., a flight board flickered back to life. My gate changed. His didn't. We both noticed it at the same time and didn't say anything for a minute. We just sat there, listening to music we weren't really hearing anymore. Then I said it, soft, casual, like it wasn't breaking the spell. I should probably go soon. He didn't nod. He didn't protest. He just said, yeah, but it didn't feel like the end yet.
She stood up, slipped her hoodie back on. I stood too, without thinking. I offered to walk her to her gate. She said yes without thinking either. We passed the bookstore, the food court. Everything was waking up. The world was starting again, and we were still half inside something unreal. I walked slower than usual. She didn't rush ahead.
When we got to the gate, I expected a hug, a polite, "This was nice," and maybe a joking, "See you in the next layover." Instead, we just stood there, neither of us moving. And then he said, "Do you ever meet someone and wonder how many versions of your life they might have belonged in?" It caught me off guard. I didn't answer. I just kissed him. Not dramatic, not rushed, just true.
I kissed her back. For maybe 5 seconds. Maybe a lifetime. It was the kind of kiss that doesn't ask for anything else. Just exists. When it ended, she smiled and said, "Well, that was wildly inconvenient." We both laughed. But it was the kind of laugh that hurts a little, because we knew what came next.
They called boarding. I grabbed my bag. He said, "Safe flight." I said, "Thanks." And then I walked away. I didn't look back until I got to the top of the jet bridge. He was still there, hands in his pockets, watching the window, or maybe just waiting.
She was gone. The noise returned. Announcements. Coffee machines. The gate agents flirting like nothing magical had just happened in their terminal. I sat down and stared at nothing for a while, then pulled out my phone, typed her name in notes, added the time, wrote down 3 words, just in case.
I slept through most of the flight. When I woke up, I half expected him to be across the aisle, headphones in, smiling at something I didn't understand yet. But he wasn't, and I knew he wouldn't be. I got home, unpacked my bag, and found his boarding pass tucked into the side pocket. He must have dropped it when we sat down. On the back there was a tiny doodle, a coffee cup, and underneath it his first name. I left it on my dresser, like it might say something new if I stared at it long enough.
The rest of that day felt like a dream I couldn't get back to. I went home, tried to dive into work, emails, sketches, meetings. All the noise I usually welcome felt empty. That night, I opened a new file on my desktop, titled it Gate 18. Just that. I didn't write anything else. I didn't need to. She was in the margins of everything I tried to focus on.
I told one friend about it. She said, "Oof, another one-night airport crush?" I didn't explain, didn't say how different it felt, how honest it was. I wanted to believe he felt it too, that it wasn't just airport magic and fluorescent lighting-induced loneliness. I picked up the boarding pass again, looked at the doodle, typed his name into Instagram, half expecting nothing to come up. But there he was.
I was brushing my teeth when the message came in. I didn't recognize the name at first. Then I saw the profile photo. Her! The message said, "Still thinking about that kiss at gate 18. I dropped my toothbrush and smiled like an idiot.
I wasn't sure he'd reply. I didn't even know what I wanted him to say, but I sent it anyway. Because some moments aren't meant to be left in terminals. Some deserve a second act.
I stared at my screen for a long time before typing anything. Then I wrote back, "Good, because I've been drawing tiny coffee cups on everything since." The layover was over, but the story wasn't. Not even close.
We messaged back and forth for 2 weeks. Voice notes, photos of airports we passed through, book recs, song links. It felt like we were building something out of thin air, and I started to want more. But then I got an offer. A promotion. It would mean more travel, less stability, a new city. I didn't tell him right away. I didn't want to make him part of a decision I hadn't made yet.
She got quieter. The messages slowed down. Less warmth, more formality. I told myself not to read into it. but I was already building a version of the future where she was in it. And then one night she told me she'd been offered a job in Berlin. Berlin. I tried to sound happy for her. I think I managed one sentence before I made an excuse to hang up. She didn't say anything else. Neither did I. For 5 days.
I almost sent him a message 4 different times. Once on the train, once while brushing my teeth, once in the frozen food aisle, staring at a bag of dumplings I knew I wouldn't cook, and once at 2 a.m. with my finger hovering over the send button, blinking like a warning light. None of them were the right version of the truth. The truth was, I missed him, and I didn't know how to miss someone I only met once.
I kept checking the message thread like maybe the app just forgot to show me her reply. I wanted to believe she had her reasons. That maybe she was scared too. That maybe I wasn't the only one replaying our layover like it was a movie I couldn't pause. And then I found it. Not a message, not a call. Just a picture she had posted. A photo of a quiet terminal. Same time of night. Same empty chairs. The caption said, "Not all layovers are delays." I knew exactly what she meant.
I posted it hoping he'd see it. I didn't tag him. Didn't send it. Just dropped it into the world like a flare in the dark. He didn't like it. Didn't comment. But he messaged me the next day. He said, somewhere between gate 18 and now, I forgot how to pretend I didn't want more. I stared at those words until the screen dimmed. And then I called him.
She answered on the second ring. No small talk, just her voice, calm and clear. She said, "What if we don't try to make sense of it? What if we just pick up where we left off?" And I said, "Then I'm getting on a plane." She laughed like she believed me. I wasn't joking.
I didn't meet him at the gate this time. I met him outside the airport. No announcements. No closing doors. No fluorescent lights. He stepped off the curb like someone walking into something permanent. We didn't run. Didn't kiss right away. Just stood there and smiled like people who knew exactly where they were supposed to be.
She looked different in daylight. Softer, realer, still her. We hugged like it was normal. Like this was the 5th or 6th time we'd done it. And maybe in some way it was. I picked up her bag. She picked up her coffee. And we walked. No rush, no final destination. Just 2 people who met by accident and stayed on purpose.